What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, well, I wanted to share with you the dashboard here on Peak Monsters. Shout out to Peak Monsters for sharing all of this information in a nice, organized way with us. And as you can see, the player base has significantly shrunk. And yesterday, June 24th, we had 7,400 active accounts. That is the lowest I have ever seen it in my entire time at Splinterlands, which has been since August of 2021. So almost 3 years, and the 3 years in which, we had the crazy boom and of course bust that followed. Now, I remember when these numbers were in the 400,000 to 500,000 range, but clearly we know now that those were not real players, nor were they even real accounts. They were a lot of bot accounts that were leeching from the system. So the good news is we finally have, in my opinion, the appropriate amount of players in the game being reported by the the metrics here. 7,400, 7,500, we'll call it that. Now, granted, we've always joked that there's anywhere between 500 to 5,000 real players in the game. I think with what we saw from the Wild Season Pass, which is about 3,500 to 4,000 passes that were bought, right? And then, of course, you have people that are maybe playing in Modern only. That puts us in that range, right? That puts us in like the 5K range. And again, with all of the secondary accounts or alt accounts that people have, 7,500 is not that far off, I would say. In fact, I would say that this is the closest that we've ever been to the real player account. And that includes a lot of the folks that have left, or, counts a lot of the folks that have left. It accounts for the folks that have left is really the way I should say that. But it's not all doom and gloom. I didn't want to make this video as something that's just like, yeah, we used to be at 500K and now look at us, we're at 7,000, right? What is actually fascinating about this number to me is the potential SPS demand. And so, I don't want this video to be too long, but I'm going to go ahead and share something with you here. Let's jump into the handy dandy calculator. Now, we have a little bit less than 1.5 billion SPS that is currently in circulation, right? That is currently out there in some way, shape, or form, right? And just to show and prove to you, let's go over to Splinter cards, and you can see here this includes what is circulating, what is staked, and what is in the DAO as well. And the DAO is holding, I believe, at least over 100 million of that. But let's just go. And again, this number surprised me a little bit in terms of how low it was, but check it out. 1,500, so this is 1.5. Let me make sure I got the right amount of zeros since there's nothing here. So 500, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is 1.5 billion. If we divide this by 7,500, right, which is the current amount of players that are actively playing, at least as of June 24th, 2024, you get 200,000. So spread equally amongst all the folks, if every one of these 7,500 players wanted, or, there's like an egalitarian distribution, you'd have 200,000 SPS per person. Now, obviously, we know there's people out there with 30 million, 20 million, whatever it is, right? I myself have more than 200,000. I know many others that do have more than 200,000. But the point being is that with a player base of 7,500, all trying to achieve and attain the highest rewards possible, 200,000 SPS is not actually that crazy. Now, again, I get it, right? Like $200,000 SPS, which at this point, right, times 0.008 is about $1,600. Again, that's not chump change, right? It's not like somebody's going to find that under their couch cushions, even with SPS under a penny. But my point is that 200,000 SPS is, in my opinion, a somewhat attainable goal, in the sense of if you are playing the game somewhat seriously and you are a mid-level to obviously high competitive player, you'll be earning a good amount of SPS per season. That SPS will be earning you more SPS and vouchers. And so I'm not saying that this is something that's going to happen overnight. And obviously, SPS is going to be distributed more and more as we go along. But my point is that even with 7,500 players, right? I'm not talking about the 7,500 players that we have right now, which includes alt accounts and maybe some casual players and maybe whatever else is baked into that number. I'm just saying 7,500 players that are all trying to achieve the same thing, meaning that they are all that mid-level to high competition players. The demand for SPS, if it was split equally, would come out to 200,000 a pop. So I find that fascinating because I think to try and get 200,000 SPS, it's like that's not that difficult. And let me be very clear about that, because the demand that I'm including here is also for renting SPS, right? Because there's only X amount of SPS that's available, whether you own it or it is being rented. It doesn't double count, right? Like if I have SPS and I'm renting it out, I don't get the benefit of that for my rewards versus, the person who is, in addition to the person who is renting it from me and vice versa. So at the end of the day, when it comes to rewards and when it comes to what we've seen in Modern, when it comes to what we've seen with the requirements increased in Wild, that's actually not that crazy, right? You see people trying to rent that much SPS all the time, 200,000 SPS worth. So obviously we're not seeing that right now with the current player base, and there's probably still a little bit more that we're going to shave off if we're going to get down to the 5K, 4K, 3K number, whatever it ends up actually being. But just in looking at 7,500 players, and I'm talking about real players that want to come in and buy assets, and more specifically, want to get their hands, whether they buy it or rent it, want to get their hands on 200,000 SPS. I mean, that stuff gets soaked up pretty quickly. And keep in mind, the DAO is sitting on probably like 100,000 of that. So we can even reduce it further from there if you're looking to see what is actually available. So again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go out and buy SPS. All I'm saying is that the demand, considering the amount of current players we have, and what I think is an easily attainable amount of players to get in a bull run, right? 7,500 real players, that could make things really interesting. And if we can get to that point where there's just not enough SPS for everyone, and what I mean by that is not enough SPS for everyone to get that 200,000 staked, whether it's their own stake or renting from someone else, because it's just not available and it starts to push the price of SPS up. That could make things really interesting. Again, not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go buy SPS. I don't know where SPS is going to go. I am just saying that with 7,500 players, we could easily I'm laughing now that I said that out loud. There's a potential, there's a possibility that demand could finally outstrip supply with less than 10,000 players, or less than 8,000 players, if you can follow the math that I'm presenting here. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Very curious to see if anybody else had broken it down like this and how you view this as we move forward in the future with the team's goals of getting not just a couple players, not just a couple thousand players, but 100,000 players, hundreds of thousands of players if they're able to be successful. That could make things fascinating, interesting, and obviously wildly fun. But remains to be seen. Team needs to execute. Their track record has been spotty at best, but I still like the game, and I think many others do, so we'll see how things play out. That is all I have for you guys in this video. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.